Hey guys, so here bringing you another video. Welcome back to a Challenger Spectate. The reason I'm doing a Challenger Spectate is two reasons. One, you had a video earlier today, and tomorrow is an absolute banger of a game, and I wanted that to be the main video of the day. But also, I don't know why, and I kind of want to see in this, Twisted Fate's popularity is starting to go higher than normal, and in a not expected way. And what I mean by that is a few days ago, maybe my first day that I came back, I played against a guy and he was good. And I looked at his match history and he was actually a Twisted Fate 1 trick. And I noticed he was building quite aggressive with Ignite with Electrocute. Now that isn't this guy, but I was looking for a replay to do and Twisted Fate was in the back of my mind. And then this guy has been spamming Twisted Fate with Ignite Electrocute. He's not really a kill champion in lane, but if you notice, he's got Ignite Electrocute, which is aggressive, he's got Dark Seal, which is aggressive, and he's against an Aurelia. Like, Aurelia is one of the best kill laners that there is in mid lane, especially against weak lane mid laners like Twisted Fate is supposed to be. So I just wanted to watch it and just see what's going on. Is this Twisted Fate actually trying to fight the Aurelia, or what? So it starts with a really nice red card, gets the 3 minions right at the beginning of the game. And that is something you could pretty much do every game, by the way. Because the first 3 minions die very quick together. So gold card, just to remind everybody, gold card is the stun that does, I think, technically the least damage of the 3 cards, but it does that because it gives a stun. Red card is a AoE slow. So it's the only card that does AoE damage, but it also slows. And then blue card is actually the highest damage in a single target. And it gives mana back. So those are the 3 cards. His E, which you can see is triggered when he has all cards around him, is a bonus auto attack damage. And then his Q, which is usually what you max, is the 3 cards that kind of go in a, I guess, like certain range angle percentage of each other. So you can see Aurelia is being aggressive, but then she's going for a dive, which I'm going to be honest is technically worth it for the Aurelia. Why? She does get an early kill. She kills the Twisted Fate. She gets both of his summoners out. She has teleport to come back to lane, and Twisted Fate doesn't. And Aurelia is a champion that she wants to early snowball. So that's not a good start for Twisted Fate. Dying already to an Aurelia, that is kind of what I would expect from a normal Twisted Fate versus Aurelia matchup. And, you know, technically the only thing that is good for Twisted Fate of that, because he got the kill after he died, he actually does get the full Dark Seal stacks of the kill. So that is a funny interaction, because it really can depend. If you've got Dark Seal or Medjay, a lot of the time, if you do trade kills, you want to die after, because then you at least gain some stacks back. So the one thing the Aurelia might continue to do, by the way, is she might continue to play aggressive, but she uses nice movement to get away. She's going to continue to be aggressive with no flash, so potentially the Rek'Sai will obviously now know that. And if the Rek'Sai is smart, maybe there could be some ganks happening in mid. But right now, Aurelia is double farm the Twisted Fate. He's very vulnerable to die right now. There's the stun hit, and he gets his gold card, and he'll run away, but he's going to be very low. So right now, you are thinking, and if I'm completely honest, I am too, how is he going to recover this one? You can see he's still going quite aggressive, and that is something worth knowing. Is most Twisted Fates in that angle there would never have continued to try and go aggro. And here's another gank. We did mention this might happen now. So she's going over aggro, and she's going to end up dead to the Rek'Sai. It's the one I'd say major negative of Aurelia is everyone knows how aggressive she's going to play. It's like Draven. Junglers gank Dravens because they usually play over aggressive and they're easy to gank. Aurelia is kind of the same. She's always going to play over aggressive in lane phase because that's what she's built to do. But yeah, so he is, by the way, still maxing Q, which is standard. So far, there's nothing completely out of the norm here. I presume, by the way, his first item is Lost Chapter, but he's delaying it so he gets his tier 1 boots. He's not even staying for full health. This is something for years people have always said to me, Huz, please stay for full health. It triggers me, etc. Challenger players don't, and there is a reason for that. You know, higher rating players aren't doing it because it's not efficient. It's kind of the opposite. They're doing it because it is efficient. Basically, if your wave is really pushed in or you need to get lane control back, staying for the extra 50 health or something, maybe 100 health, it's not optimal. Like, he's a Twisted Fate also, so he could technically stay in lane now, hit level 6, go back again if he needs to, and ult back to lane. It's worth getting back to lane quick. So again, wave clear for Twisted Fate is pretty good. You know, that's the one thing I will say. He's a very vulnerable lane champion on average, but you know, maxing Q is the big wave clear. You can just throw your Q out, try to last hit as well as you can, and there's not a lot opponents can do against that if a Twisted Fate does decide, I'm just going to play safe and just Q every wave. Obviously, you will not get as much farm as you normally could get, and that is the negative, but at least you can farm a little bit, where there are a lot of laners that can't farm at all. So Aurelia continuing to try and have that aggression. Twisted Fate, though, continuously trying to get a little bit extra damage than he probably should. Aurelia's going to probably go for that, get stunned, gets ignited, and dead she is again. It's worth knowing Rek'Sai obviously came then, but I arguably would say that Aurelia was definitely dead no matter what, and I think the Twisted Fate was probably going to live. It would have been close, but I actually think that Twisted Fate wasn't going to die in that situation. So it's the over-aggression from the Aurelia that's actually now hurting her. She's still probably ahead in gold right now, so like she's on 2.5, 2.5, they're very even, but Aurelia's still a little bit ahead, even though she's died 3 times, and that's because of the farm difference. Caitlyn in bot lane doing pretty good, but it is a Caitlyn Senna. And I don't rate Caitlyn amazing at the moment, if I'm completely honest, but having a Senna with you, it just gives you so much lane control. Again, continuously being aggressive, this Aurelia. He's ulted, he's going to ult close to the Aurelia, the Rek'Sai's nearby, and lo and behold, once again, dead. So, one thing I will say, obviously, I looked at this person's match history, and they are playing Twisted Fate a lot, and they're getting fed quite a lot in games. So far this game, I know what some people in the comment section will say is like, it's not really Twisted Fate, this is more Rek'Sai showing up and helping. True, but I will say Twisted Fate is also a very good mid laner to help gank for 2 reasons. He's not an easy champion to play, kinda, but his stun, where a lot of mid laner stuns are skill shots and stuff like that, he just has to pick gold card and auto attack. You can't really miss it, and that's quite a big deal when it comes to a jungler selecting who he's going to gank for. Twisted Fate gets to just stun by auto-attacking. Not many mid laners are like that. Not many champions are like that. So that is an incentive for a jungler to go mid, especially, you know, you could argue in average ranks, will they select the right card at the right time? But in Challenger or high rating play, they're going to select the right card 95% of the time. So that's one reason that ganking for a Twisted Fate is good. Second reason is map control. So a lot of mid laners, obviously the meta at the moment and has been for a long time, is about roaming in mid. But Twisted Fate is the original OG roaming mid laner. You know, him and Katarina basically, but his ultimate is a roaming tool ult. So it's in his design to not stay mid. So if you gank for a Twisted Fate and actually get him strong, your map pressure goes up. Not just your mid pressure, your map pressure, because then when he roams himself with his ultimate, he is stronger because you ganked for him, made him stronger than he normally would be, and lo and behold, you'll have a good time. So he's probably gonna, he doesn't actually have ultimate right now because he used it to help kill the Aurelia. Ashe obviously incredibly good at kiting. He has flash available. Rek'Sai gets the knock up, gold card comes in, and a Twisted Fate kill. So you can see the Ashe is being toxic over to the Aurelia. Toxicity happens in every rank, even Challenger. I think technically this player is Grandmaster, the one that we're watching. So I said Challenge Spectator earlier. How I found this game, hilariously, I can't remember which one it was. I found this game by looking at a different... Well, I wasn't in this game. I was looking at a different player to look at their replay. And in a match history, there was his Twisted Fate game that did really well. I was like, whoa, Twisted Fate. And it was in the back of my mind. So then I looked at the Twisted Fate player's match history, and that's this guy. So yeah, Grandmaster, Challenger, they do play with each other. They're very kind of similar in skill, if you want to say that. So they are spam pinging like mad. Senna, the reason why is Senna spam pinging? Twisted Fate ultimate comes in, nice blitzcrank hook, but the Senna's spam pinging like that because she's like, I've got ult. Double kill for Twisted Fate, and that's the point. He's in a good state of strength right now because of how much help he had in lane phase. Especially, you know, when it also comes to map pressure, it's worth mentioning, you can gank a lot for a Twisted Fate in the really early game, get yourself and the Twisted Fate a bit ahead as the jungler, and then you both gank the same place. You're then 4v, if you go bot lane, you're 4v2. If you go top lane, you're 3v1, and it's an easy kill because you've made both of you strong from ganking mid a lot. So it is worth knowing if you're a jungler and you have a Twisted Fate in your game, maybe pay him a bit of attention. So Aurelia herself decided to go bot lane. She did use flash, but she did get the Caitlyn, which at the time may have been on a shutdown. Evelyn looking mid, Twisted Fate has to flash. All is worth knowing. I don't think it's a coincidence like, you know, oh, he picked Twisted Fate to counter it, because this guy just plays Twisted Fate anyway. But Twisted Fate is one of the most natural counters to Evelyn in the game. For those like, what? She's a stealth champion. That obviously is technically after level 6. She's got pure stealth. She's always stealth. It's not like Twitch's Q that it's every, you know, he has 10 seconds of stealth or whatever. She's always stealth. So in late game, she's always looking for those flank plays, looking for your AD carry, and it, a lot of the time, puts her in a quite a compromised position if she gets found. Twisted Fate's ultimate will discover the Evelyn. I don't know if it would happen. In my mind, it might, to be honest. Potentially, it means that Evelyn would have to buy a Banshee's Veil quite early, because I think the actual Twisted Fate ultimate would count as a spell. So if she has Banshee's Veil available, Twisted Fate ultimate happens, it would make it it doesn't detect her, but it would use the Banshee's Veil use. Potentially that is something that she might consider if it is the way that I think it is. So Aurelia, I don't know if you guys noticed, she actually went top lane. Nice W by the Senna. This should get the Twisted Fate. Look at the confidence. He just complete confidence was like, yeah, they're dead. And now he's going to potentially go for a triple kill here. Boom. So it's worth knowing part of the roams of Twisted Fate are due to his ultimate, but that doesn't mean you can't just run bot lane. And that by the way, isn't a Twisted Fate thing. That's a modern mid lane thing. That's the thing that I was kind of saying earlier of the meta in mid lane is roaming. Yeah, that's what Twisted Fate has done a few times, is just run bot lane. That is what most mid laners do. His ultimate is kind of the bonus of I can just appear. It's like a teleport. And that is potentially why Twisted Fates are now not going teleport summoner spell, because a lot of them used to. Because they're like, well, if I want to go bot lane, I'll just run there, or go top lane, I can run there. And then the big ganks, I'll use my ultimate. Where before, I think a lot of Twisted Fates used to be worried of like kind of like a Shen. I go bot lane with my ultimate, and then I can teleport back to mid lane so I don't miss as much mid. To be honest, players don't care anymore. Like, that is what League of Legends mid lane especially has become. They all roam bot lane, get a double or a single kill. They lose their tower potentially, but players just don't care. Because that's the game now. The Blitzcrank goes for quite a I don't know what the right word is at the time, but yeah, a flash play that was a bit overzealous, we should say. And yeah, that didn't work. Twisted Fate ultimate, straight back in. He knows Blitzcrank doesn't have flash. Easy kill. And that is something that is worth knowing when you are playing like a Twisted Fate. Really try and keep on top of summoner spells, especially flash. So if you're a player that is really good of like, you know, when your teammates and people are pinging down in the bottom left, like, you know, oh, such and such use flash, and you're really good at kind of remembering that, consider Twisted Fate, because it's a really big bonus. Ignite comes from Twisted Fate. Aurelia goes for a re-engage. Bit weird that. She uses her damage reduction at the right time, and then she's going aggressive? What? I don't think Twisted Fate expected that, otherwise I think Aurelia might be dead. He uses his Q, Aurelia's going all in, and another kill for Twisted Fate. So his damage isn't bad, but obviously he's very fed. He's got 18 stacks of Magi already. I didn't really mention it at the time, but it is worth knowing. He did buy just a random one-off cloth armor earlier. That was in probably the mindset of, God, Aurelia's doing a lot of damage. I've got to be careful not to let her snowball. Oh, I'll buy a Seekers in the early game to give me that little bonus armor. Well, yeah, he hasn't needed it because he's actually started to snowball. So much so, I don't even think he's going for Zhonya's next. I think he might be going for Lichbane next. So naturally, in this type of game, you potentially would go Zhonya's next item. You're fed, protect the Magi stacks. He's not aggressive. Like, that is weirdly something that I never would thought I would describe a Twisted Fate, is they're playing aggressive, but it is Modern League. The damage is really high again, even, and we've mentioned it many times, even for champions that should do no damage early, they're doing damage. So like Jax, Kassadin, these kind of like late game hyper carries, they're doing damage in the early game because the damage in League is really high again. So even something like Twisted Fate, their damage is good. So they can get away with being more greedy, because where before when damage was low, they couldn't get that kill. Now they can. So just saw Camille and just saw a little bit of Aurelia. So it looks like the Aurelia and Camille maybe not really too confident in their own lanes. So they're like, oh, let's do a swap. Maybe if we have a bit of better luck. Problem with Aurelia is she just gets ganked instantly again, and she does die. And to be fair, the Aurelia needs to adjust the playstyle. She's playing too aggro. So again, just to explain that situation again, yes, she got seen here, so they knew she was there. But she's this far up when there's no tower anyway. So even if Rek'Sai wasn't there again, she still is really far up for technically how weak she is in the game. Because at the time, she would still be fighting, if it was a pure 1v1, a pretty damn strong Gragas. He's done really well. So again, it's potentially, some people say like they have to continue playing aggressive. Like Aurelia is not a late game hyperscaling champion, so you just have to keep playing aggressive in the early to mid game, because what else are you going to do? Like, there are some champions that, oh, I'm having a bad early game, I guess I'll just farm up and get late game, and that exists. And yes, Aurelia would get stronger in late game, but she's not a late game hyper carry. So there's the counter. The Twisted Fate ultimate detected the Evelynn, and a nice stun keeps the Caitlyn alive, and that was really nice synergy by both of them. And they do end up getting, well, in that entire play, 3 kills, 4 if you wanted to include the Aurelia, but she's already respawned. And yeah, she is going side lane, which is the natural thing that a lot of people do now. She might even be dead again, by the way. Gragas doesn't have ultimate. If he did, she'd be dead. Center ultimate, extra shield, uses flash really early, but Gragas needs to be careful. Aurelia's got full stacks. Yeah, Gragas did not fully respect the Aurelia full stack passive there. You still have to respect it, because again, it's worth saying, yes, Gragas probably shouldn't have died there. He misplayed it a bit, but he's very squishy. Like, he's going, as is the norm nowadays, full AP, full damage Gragas. He's squishy. The strength of Gragas against something like an Aurelia and Camille is playing smart and basically just not fighting them all in full on. It's kind of like doing your full combo and then walking away a bit and then waiting for your full combo and doing that again, where he didn't wait for his full combo to come back. He just tried to continuously fight her and he died. So yeah. So Lichbane was the next item. Presumably Zhonya's is next. So Camille going in on the Senna. Does get killed by the Twisted Fate. Evelynn gonna go down as well. Does go down. Rek'Sai still a very powerhouse jungler. Obviously Rek'Sai got her rework from basically being you're an assassin to now you're her, you know, what she was intended was a more bruiser. She's back to being a bruiser, but that doesn't mean she doesn't do damage. Hilariously, she, I would say, doesn't do her assassin level damage, but it's close. But now because she does bruiser builds, she's tankier than she was before. So overall, I think it's been a big benefit to Rek'Sai. There hasn't really been a negative. I imagine there are some Rek'Sai players that just preferred the pure one-shot play style, and yeah, that's kind of gone. That TP to me must mean Evelynn's bot lane, by the way. I don't see any world why they would have gone for that TP. And there's the Evelynn. Okay, so she wasn't there at the right time. Ashe mid lane trying to farm up. Senna does do a bunch of damage and does get the kill. So yeah, Ashe, when there's a fed Twisted Fate in the game, you got to respect it. There's a bunch of champions that you can't play the same if they're in that game. And to a lot of people, it's simply going to be you don't play against Twisted Fate very much. They're not going to, you know, probably think about it. But if there's a fed Evelynn, a fed Rengar, or something like that, you've got to give that level of respect. You've got to give that level of respect as well to a Twisted Fate, because he can just ult on top of you, and boom, you're dead. Yeah, the Ashe you can definitely tell is very toxic. I presume Upset is a pro player, so they're a wannabe pro player, I guess, is by their own summoner name. Baron going down, do get the kill. Red cards going on the Camille. Caitlyn ultimate going down. Can Twisted Fate get the kill? Yes, he can. And voila. So yeah, Zhonya's does look to be the next item. Moving in onto the enemy's territory. Aurelia's still bot lane, by the way. Is potentially a sign of tilt, but at the same rate, could Aurelia realistically stop this push? I do think she shouldn't be bot lane, because they're just going to end the game now, and if Aurelia was here, she might die, but she might be able to stop the game from ending. But at this rate, they probably have just given up, let the game end, go into the next one. Save the mental as much as you can. But that is a pretty impressive game from Twisted Fate, and just reminding everyone, he died first. Like, one of the first kills in the game. It was his only death. So it does show, even if you don't have the best to start, you know, Aurelia was double his farm. She actually finished the game still ahead in farm. Doesn't mean the game is over. You just got to keep your cool head. And yes, it did help Rek'Sai showing up. But it was also the Aurelia overplaying, and then Twisted Fate's roams were on point. Both his ultimate roams and just running down bot lane or top was very good. So do not discount Twisted Fate. I'd love to play more Twisted Fate myself. You know, I've got packs Twisted Fate on the main account. What puts me off playing it, and they have made it a bit better, so maybe I'll have to give it a go. Because I'll be honest, in this replay, I was being able to tell the difference between red and gold card. But if you don't know, I'm colorblind. Mainly red-green, but it does affect other colors as well. And historically, it's been quite difficult for me to play Twisted Fate. And I could always tell the difference between red and gold card, but it was a delay. It's the best way I can describe it. It was like a half-a second delay going, is that gold card? Oh, yes, it is. I'll lock that in. And when you're playing with basically personal lag of working out what card it is, it's just not worth playing, right? Because you're not going to be playing completely optimally. But they have made it better. They made it better about a year ago or so. So maybe I should bring out the Twisted Fate in tomorrow's play session and see how it goes. But anyway, that's going to be it. Let me know if you think there's any like underlying strong champions that aren't quite full meta, but they're kind of starting to get popular, because Twisted Fate, I think, is on the rise. Let me know. If you guys did enjoy, do throw a like on it, throw a comment, throw a subscribe. Hopefully you're enjoying the content that I'm back from vacation. I think it's some of the best content I've made because I'm feeling good. But yeah, that's going to be it. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Goodbye.
Call down the reckoning to bring back hope and peace. Restore our glory to live forever. Bring down the dark regime. I know how to unleash eternal